Welcome to our Travel Marvel Insider Series of Lavender Fair and Fields. My name is Sheena Smith and I am one of the Business Development Managers for Travel Marvel. Now today we are heading to one of my favourite destinations within Australia, and that is the beautiful state of Tasmania. Joining me today, we have a very special guest all the way from Tasmania, and that is Robert Ravens from Bridestowe Lavender Estate. So, hi, Robert. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, what a build-up. Thank you so much.
We're so lucky to have you here today. Now, I want to clear something in the air just quickly. You know, I've heard many people pronounce Bridestowe differently. I've heard Bridestowe, Bridestowe. Can you just clear the air for us and tell us what it is, how it is pronounced?
Well, officially it is pronounced Bridestowe, which is a clumsy word. Comes after the town in Devon where the founder's wife was born. So it's really an Old English word, an Old English town. Pronounced Bridestowe, the area around St. Bridget's Church.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad we cleared that all up for you. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention, I actually wanted to say congratulations and a very big happy birthday, because I know that Bridestowe has turned 100 years old this year.
That is correct.
Fabulous. It's quite the milestone birthday. So can you give us an idea and share some history of when Bridestowe was first established to where it has come today?
Okay. Yes, we're 100. There's a bit of an argument about whether we should have been 100 in 2019, 2020, 2021. We've chosen 2021 because it's when the first seedlings were propagated at the farm, basically. And by 1922, they were up and running and the company was registered as Bridestowe Estate. And so we've said, look, 1921, but maybe 1922. COVID's got in the way of 1921 anyway, so let's make 1922 the big year for 100 celebration. And we're going to celebrate in style.
Excellent and excellent. So what about the history? Can you tell me about the history?
Well, Bridestowe Estate was formed by a family, an English family, with very strong roots to the fragrance and perfume industry in the UK. Now, the UK, back in the 19th and early 20th century, led the world in fragrance and cosmetics. Now, no one thinks that today. They think big brands are American or European or something like that. But in effect, England with the Yardley and the Mitcham lavender and the great brands that came out of England led the world in fragrance and cosmetics. And they ran out of fine lavender oil. And in 1919, a family called the Dennies gathered some seeds from lavender, wild-growing lavender in the French Alps, and they put them in a bag, took them back to England, got on a boat and sailed to Hobart. They got to Hobart, said the weather's not so good down here. It's not going to suit lavender. Let's go north where the climate is much more favourable. So they did, and they came to an area not far from here, and they settled and built a very beautiful business, a business that resonated right around the world for now 100 years. They led in everything they did. It was original thought. They wanted to breed the perfect plants to give the perfect fragrance. And eventually they were so successful at it that even the French got jealous. And you've all heard, everyone's heard of Tasmanian lavender. Well, there's no such thing. It's really all grown at Bridestowe Estate, and it became such a famous fragrance that everyone thought it belonged to Tasmania. But in essence, it's from the French Alps, transferred to the rich soils of Tasmania, harvested here, every year and blend it into what's one of the world's great fragrances.
Well, I can tell you it looks absolutely stunning. So can you tell us exactly where it's located?
Well, it's in the northeast of Tasmania, in the most fertile area of the top of the Tamar Valley. We've got our neighbours are all wonderful wineries and food growing, milk producing, wonderful, where the rich soils and the rainfall are all perfect for agriculture. And the air is absolutely pristine. The air goes round and round the planet on its own stream, so it doesn't touch any other continent. It just touches the top of Tasmania. So there you go.
Oh, it's an absolutely beautiful location. I agree. There's some beautiful wines from that region too, isn't there? Now, also, I know many of our guests have been lucky enough when they travel to Tasmania to visit Bridestowe Estate. Yes. We've had a wonderful partnership over the years. Can you tell us why that partnership with Travel Marble is such a special one?
That's a special one, isn't it? You have an absolutely amazing member of your team, and I won't mention her name, but she knows who she is. And yes. She came to us nearly 15 years ago, and she had a visit to Bridestowe Estate, and it wasn't the most favourable visit. Everyone had gone home, and it was a total disaster. And she said, "We'll never come back again unless you can change your product." And so my son and I flew to Melbourne from Sydney. We were in Sydney, and she flew to Melbourne. We sat down on Christmas Eve about 15 years ago and said, "Give us another go." And she did, and we've never looked back. It's been a wonderful partnership for 15 years and hopefully ongoing for another 50. It's been great because, again, I think your company set the pace for tourism into Tasmania. They really did. And others have followed, but you always maintain a very, very professional edge. And I think that is the important differentiator in any business, that, you've got to be number one.
Yeah,
and, I think you fit that model.
Yeah, and I guess that's it. Our team are so passionate about the destinations that we travel to and what our guests get to see. So you're absolutely spot on there.
It's about the tour guides. It's about the bus drivers. It's about everyone being intolerant of failure. And so, you pull together a great product in the end. And it's something that everyone looks at, admires, and seeks to copy. And that's the best position to be in any industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, these images that we see on the screen are absolutely beautiful. I can see that the farm itself, it's incredibly large. In fact, it's one of the largest lavender farms in the world, if I'm correct. So do you have any other interesting facts, and can you tell us about the size?
We will argue that it is the largest privately owned lavender farm in the world, certainly. And I think you've got to put lavender into context. France is famous for lavender, and it produces very fine fragrance. But most of what the visitors see in France is now a hybrid called lavandin, which is a pungent smelling lavender, very pretty, and fills the fields, but it doesn't make fragrance quality or grow fragrance quality lavender. We do. And we're one of the few, certainly in the Southern Hemisphere, we're overwhelmingly the largest. We're 10 times bigger than anyone else. And that includes Japan. That's Northern Hemisphere. That includes New Zealand and South Africa. We're multiples bigger than anybody else. We're bigger than the famous Japanese farm. We're bigger than anything in North America. And we're arguably bigger than anything in France. So not a bad statistic. I mean, you can torture statistics till they tell you they confess to any fact. But we take pride in the fact that it is now the oldest continuously operating lavender farm in the world, and privately owned.
Yeah, that is very impressive.
And we will claim it to be the largest, and we will also claim that we produce the most famous fragrance in the lavender industry. Now, everyone will argue, and that's all part of the fun of being in the business. But no one's ever come forward and proved us wrong. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Some very special lavender oil there. Now, obviously, there's many different types and varieties of lavender. What types do you farm at Bridestowe?
Okay.
Or how many different types?
Now, would you believe there are 40 different types of lavender?
Okay.
And every one of those lavenders is capable of interbreeding with every other one. And you do the maths on that, and you have an infinite number of different lavenders. only one of them, which is what we
Yes.
grow, has really good fine fragrance properties. The rest are beautiful plants that people put in their garden, and they've got funny little coloured ears, and they've got furry bits, and they've got all sorts of things. But the only lavender that produces a high quality fragrance is from the French Alps, above 800 meters in the
Okay.
French Alps.
Yeah.
And the seeds that we've got were transferred from the 800 meter line down to Bridestowe Estate. And we have, I think, the most genetically pure lavender in the world now, because it's so isolated and it's been so protected for 100 years that we have a very unique laboratory of lavender going back 100 years.
That's fascinating. So it makes it some of the best
Absolutely.
produced lavender oil in the world.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, look, everyone loves their children. You know that. So,
Yes, of
we
course.
always say everything we do here is the best. We do try to make it the best. We do look around the world we spend a lot of time examining what the world does. And we
Okay.
make certain that our product is the best that we can produce when we use all the others as a basis for comparison. So, we're happy.
Very exciting. And obviously lavender has its many benefits as well, for centuries and centuries now. Can you tell us about some of the benefits that the lavender offers?
Well, it's almost a cure-all for. It was always in a Western doctor's medical kit, always from going back 300 years. It's always been part of folk medicine, and it's got some seriously good properties there. It has antibiotic, anti-inflammatory properties, but again, it nowadays all sorts of drugs have come along, and lavender has now just become part of the fragrance industry rather than the medicinal industry. And increasingly, people are using it for relaxation, so they're putting it into body products, and it has some good properties for the skin. So it's got, in face creams and things, got therapeutic benefits.
Yeah.
And also now it's being used very widely, particularly our products, in food. You'd be astonished where it's going in the food industry now. Tasmania produces some absolutely, oh my goodness. I like that one.
That's a stunning shot.
It's into our ice creams. There are some famous gins coming from the Tasmania now, and they're all held together with Bridestowe Lavender Oil. So, it's a wonderful fragrance, and it's absolutely free of nasties, which is uncommon. It's free of camphor, which is bitter and very strong taste. So, we're promoting it widely now into the food industry as well.
Yeah. And of course it looks absolutely beautiful as well in those fields surrounding you there too.
Well, it is. I can't describe how breathtaking it really is. It actually overwhelms the senses when it's in full flower.
Excellent. Now tell me, obviously our guests have been visiting your estate, and it is one of our special signature experiences that we include on our Travel Marvel trips. So can you give us a little taste or insight as to what our guests will experience when they visit on our Travel Marvel trips?
We can't avoid tucking it into food and offering, little samples of all sorts of wonderful things, from lavender shortbread to lavender ice cream. We make a lavender latte. Everything here is about lavender, believe me.
You're making me hungry.
We do it with finesse.
Oh, very special. So will the guests get to visit the distillery and see how it works?
They can do that. Now, the distillery is always open, and there's good audiovisual stuff going on down there. But it's in full flight in January and February. And so people love to be down there. It's very, very exciting, full of beautiful smells and, all sorts of action. So, no, it's great fun. Right? And we have laboratories and things and places where we make soap and fragrance and candles and all sorts of things. So there's always something to get your eyes on, even if the lavender's not being distilled. So, yeah.
It's an absolute sensory overload, it sounds like.
That's one of the risk factors, that sometimes it overwhelms, and your visits are an hour and a half or something like that. Sometimes people want to stay all day. So, you've got this trade-off. There's a sense of euphoria when the lavender's in full flower. It's wonderful.
And why wouldn't you want to stay there all day? It looks absolutely stunning. Now, obviously, you can purchase some little souvenirs to take home. I've noticed one behind you there. It's a little
we don't
special
we don't sell little souvenirs. We sell big ones and lots of them.
Big ones. Okay. So tell me about Bobby the bear and why he has become so special.
Let me get one. Yeah, Bobby is arguably the most famous Tasmanian citizen. So he was created in 2009 when we had lots and lots of dried lavender, and we were trying to work out a way to manage those stocks. And we came up with the idea of a heat pack bear. Now, not entirely original. I won't claim that we invented the concept, but we certainly made it globally famous.
Right.
It really appealed to the traveling public. It's a nice weight. It weighs 850 grams. It's a great souvenir. It smells incredibly fragrant. And you put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and you get a warm bed companion, which is great in winter. So there you go.
A perfect gift. I'll have to get one when I come over.
Please.
Now, also speaking of which, has anyone famous visited the farm?
We get lots of famous visitors.
Okay.
We have prime ministers and presidents and all sorts of people come to the farm.
Okay.
And you have to be very polite to everybody here because you never know who comes through your door. Now, Bobby was given to the Chinese president when he visited Tasmania, and
okay.
I'm not sure that's a look of sheer delight, but it's certainly. I think the president's wife, Madam Pang, was very pleased to receive it, if not the president. So yes,
that's pretty famous. Bobby's definitely more famous than me. It sounds like I need to come over there to become a celebrity.
Bobby is very famous. He really is, and particularly in Asia. He's known in other countries, but he's very famous throughout Asia. And his fame started in Hong Kong and spread very quickly to mainland China and right across the world, from mostly through Chinese people living in other countries and telling their friends, hey, I've got this bear, everyone should have one. And so he still travels widely. We have a very, very good mail order business, and they go to Russia, and you get you think the order's not real. You think, how can somebody in Russia want a bear? And they do. And so they go to Russia and all sorts of interesting places.
There you go.
Yeah,
and all the way from Tasmania.
Yeah.
And all the way from Tasmania.
All the way from Tasmania. That's right. That's right.
And also, speaking of which, I did hear that your estate is one of the most Instagram best places to get a photo. Is that correct?
Yes. There's something of a, what shall I say, a visitor passport. If you can't prove you've been to Tasmania unless you've been photographed with an ice cream under or near our big oak tree, looking at Mount Arthur in the background. All those things you see. It's photographed over and over and over, countless, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times.
I can understand why.
We're one of the most Instagrammed visitors in Australia.
There you go. So we have to come visit you to be part of that, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Which you can with Travel Marble. Now, also, what do you think, in your opinion, what is the best time of the year to visit Tasmania or Bridestowe Estate, for that matter?
I'm going to duck that question. You'll think this is a terrible answer, but there's no bad time. There isn't a bad time to visit Tasmania. I mean, the reason being that in winter it's moody and warm fires and wonderful things to eat and drink, and in summer it's great landscapes and lavender, and it's always, we have a spring here like I've never seen a spring as good as the spring that we see at Bridestowe Estate outside of England. We had a daffodil flowering this year that would have taken your breath away. I mean, it's always amazing. We have beautiful autumn foliage. We have it's a genuine Four Seasons island, and you get to see such amazing landscapes and such amazing change of vistas. And so
Yeah.
I believe, honestly, if I wanted to come to Tasmania, I'd come off season, because
Okay.
I love landscapes, and I love
Yeah.
that feeling of being cool in the day and then nice warm fires and things like that. I think that's romantic, and I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I have to agree with you. I've been to Tasmania myself a few times, and it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, it's always beautiful. And in fact, I guess one of my favorite places is the beautiful Cradle Mountain, which is where I'd rather be right now.
Yep.
But what is your favorite place to visit? No, besides Bridestowe, of course.
My problem is that every time I go somewhere, it becomes my favorite place. And so last weekend, we went down to the very far southwest, to the diagonally opposite Tasmania from Bridestowe Estate. So we flew from a little airport, Cambridge Airport, near Hobart, down to a place called Melaleuca, and it was just absolutely breathtaking. It really, truly was. It was amazing. And so we had a night camping there, and lots of boating around and walking, and wonderful company. And then we got back on the plane and flew back to Hobart. That's my favouriteest place in the world at the moment. So.
Oh, wow. And you also do love the Northwest, right? You think that's
look, I love the Northwest. I've been an Australia Day ambassador for many years now, so I get to travel around Australia and around Tasmania and talk to all sorts of areas. Last Australia Day, we were in Sheffield, towards the northwest, and I just loved it. The streetscapes, the mountains behind, the people were charming. It was just gorgeous places to go and to see. And the distances aren't great, so in 4 hours you can sort of go top to bottom or side to side or whatever, and you can do a great deal in a relatively short space of time.
Yeah, no, it's stunning. Now, finally, one of my last questions for you. What do you think makes Tasmania such a special place?
I think the rapid changes of scenery in short distances. I think there is something for everyone in Tasmania. If you like wilderness, it's there. If you like horticulture, it's here. If you like, farmland and vistas, and you like good food and you like good wine. I mean, it's for people who enjoy life. And there's everywhere you go, there is something different to experience. And it's full of wonderful, creative people, I mean, it probably has, this is a silly statistic, might just made it up maybe, but it seems to have more creative people per head of population here than anywhere else I've ever been.
Yeah.
People do amazing things. They do special things. Yes.
And you're right. The locals are so friendly and, open to when people coming around and visiting too.
If I said to you it's the way Australia used to be, and it's really, as I grew up, Tasmania now, it reflects the attitudes of everyone when I grew up, which is a long while ago now. But it's got some old-fashioned values which we're in great danger of losing. And I think it's wonderful to regroup around those values where people matter and where, everyone's friendly and warm and caring, and it's a lovely place.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Robert. I can hear that you've got some visitors there in the background. We're just going to see if anyone's...
They knew we were on.
Yeah, I just want to throw it out to the audience to see if maybe anyone wanted to know any questions or anything. I can't see anything popping up. But if you would like to experience Bridestowe Lavender Estate for yourself, you absolutely can on one of our Travel Marvel trips. One of our most popular itineraries is our wonderful 10-day Grand Tasman itinerary. And this really captures all the highlights that Tasmania has to offer. From the East Coast to the West Coast, here you'll get to see the cultural cities of Hobart, Launceston. You'll get to see beautiful places like Freycinet National Park, Cradle Mountain National Park, even the quaint seaside village of Smithton. So it really has it all. So if you're interested in any of our wonderful Tasmanian itineraries, please contact our friendly reservations team or you can also contact your local travel agent. But Robert, I just wanted to say a very big thank you to you for joining us today. But not only that, I also wanted to say thank you so much for, giving our guests such a wonderful experience on our trips as well. And yeah, for everything that you do for Travel Marvel too. But we do have a quick little question. Are you ready for a question?
There's a question there.
How far from Launceston is Bridestowe Lavender Estate?
45 kilometres by a very good road. So it takes about 50 minutes driving carefully, and it's good road all the way, tar sealed, and very, very easy to find.
Nice and easy to get to. Perfect. Oh, we've got a comment here. I love lavender and would absolutely love to visit while the lavender is full bloom. Is there any specific time of the year that is recommended to capture this experience?
Well, the best day of the year is Christmas Day.
Oh, there you go. Are you open on Christmas Day? You're closed.
Yes.
Boxing Day. Boxing Day.
Boxing Day is a wonderful day to be here. The flowers are guaranteed to be at their absolute best.
Okay.
Plus or minus 10 days gives you peak bloom. But from the 1st of December to the 28th of February, I was going to say the 30th of March.
Yeah. So
the evolving climate is bringing the flowering in to full bloom earlier. So we are actually seeing. Traditionally, we would have been blooming well into March. Now it's coming back into February, and so we're harvesting earlier. And that's been true for 30 years. So, yeah.
There you go. So around that sort of December, January period. Oh, I've got another question for you. So when we visit with Travel Marvel, how long do you spend at the estate on the tour with Travel Marvel?
Well, this is an interesting point because you see... We've got very efficient guides who have a shepherd's crook. They round them all up very quickly after an hour and a half. We whip them into the bus. So, we secretly hold somebody back. So when they do their bus count, of course, they're always missing one or two. But about an hour and a
half. Okay, perfect. Then that's when you, of course, get to taste and smell and everything.
Well, the one problem is that on buses, everybody talks to everybody, and they all get back on the bus, and somebody says, "Look what I bought," and somebody says, "Oh, I didn't see that," and I've got to have one of those. They whip back. Yeah.
Oh well, they'd have to make another trip then. I want to work on a lavender farm now. What other types of lavender fare do we get to sample when at Bridestowe?
Oh, you see. We're very sneaky. We tuck lavender into absolutely everything we cook. So you can have a pulled pork roll, or you can have, ploughman's lunch, or you can everything has a little bit of lavender love in it somewhere. And we make about 280 different products here, and all of them get used somewhere into what we offer. We make sure everyone, even people who hate lavender, you'd be surprised, they loathe it. But they love our ice cream, and then we say, that's got our lavender oil in it, and they can't believe it.
Oh, it looks absolutely beautiful, and the colour in itself is just stunning, isn't it? You're making me hungry.
No, quite seriously. I was going to eat an ice cream in front of the audience, but I thought that wasn't fair.
You should have made us all jealous. Anyway, well, thank you once again, Robert, for joining us today. Can't thank you enough. And as we said, come on our Travel Marvel holidays so that you can come and experience Bridestowe firsthand for yourself. But
you guys set the standards, so congratulations. And we would love to see lots more of you. I know there were lots of bookings and they've all been cancelled.
Yes, I know.
We just keep hoping that eventually, the gates will open.
We will be there soon. We will be there very soon. So can't wait to come over and visit and do some tasting.
Look forward to seeing everybody.
All right. Thanks so much, Robert. Until next time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Bye for now.